Monday, November 17th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Tons to talk about this morning. Let's get right into the video. These are temperatures across the region, the Carolinas this morning. A lot of 40s on the board. Then you eventually hit some 50s down across the South Carolina coast and up toward the Outer Banks and Elizabeth City as well. Our next big blast of cold air, there it is. Look at the teens all the way down to Kansas and the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma Panhandle regions this morning. That is rapidly dropping southeast. But also notice this little bubble of warmer air. It's 68 in Montgomery, 67 in Mobile. That warmer air in Alabama and in parts of the Florida Panhandle region, fueling an ongoing severe weather threat this morning. Still in the cool and stable air for a good chunk of the Carolinas, but one of the many forecast challenges today is how much we see that warmer air lift up into the Carolinas. Now, let me show you what the RPM modeling is doing as we go through the course of today. And you'll notice that warm air certainly makes it up into the central and eastern parts of the Carolinas. It even pushes Charlotte here up to 68 and 58, even in the low 60s in parts of the Triad on the Futurecast modeling. And it's always a very tricky deal here. We're seeing how much we get that bit of a wedge to erode away, and that's going to be eroding with time. But you could end up with, say, Mount Airy, with afternoon temperatures struggling to make the low 50s, where Charlotte makes a run up to the upper 60s or so. So it's going to be one of those really tricky temperature days. But then an Arctic air mass blows on in here tonight, and it is going to be a cold night and a cold day tomorrow. Look at those afternoon temperatures tomorrow. More on that in just a second. Let's take a peek here at what we're looking like, the overall setup today. Pretty complex storm system off to the west, that low pressure fueling the ongoing severe weather threat across southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle regions. And there's your Arctic front just to the northwest of that. On the radar this morning, generally some light rain moving across portions of North Carolina early today. The rain picking up in intensity back through the mountains. And then you head further to the southwest, there through southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. There's where there are ongoing tornado warnings. Those pink outlined polygons there, that is your couple of active tornado warnings at the moment. And then up in the colder air, snowing in northern Kentucky, Ohio, parts of Indiana. And once again, a few snowflakes in the air for the second time this month in Memphis and extreme northwest Mississippi. How about that? Now let's talk about the severe weather potential today. Your yellow outlined area, that is your standard slight risk of severe weather. That's where your greatest threat of severe storms will be, southern Georgia to the coastal plain of South Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, but even up to the I-85 corridor. Could have some rumbles of thunder today as we have this storm system moving on through. A lot of dynamics here, very little instability, but plenty of dynamics with this system as it moves on through. So rain at times today across the Piedmont, a few rumbles of thunder, certainly a possibility. And as you head closer to the coast, that's where there could be a few severe storms over toward the coastal plain of the Carolinas today. And then we get that Arctic air mass plunging on in here tonight. Rain totals off the RPM modeling, they will be heaviest the further west you go toward the mountains. Actually, you're getting an inch of rain being indicated in the Charlotte area. That's a possibility. That's probably the very upper limit of the rain potential. I think a lot of the Piedmont, between a third and 3/4 of an inch of rain, somewhere in that general range. And then here comes the cold air tonight. Look at these numbers tonight. Bitterly cold air settling on in. And watch what happens here in the mountains. And you factor the temperatures in with the wind. You're going to have wind chill values daybreak tomorrow, sub-zero in most mountain spots as this Arctic air takes hold. All right, so let's take a peek here at what we're looking like as we go into tomorrow. That cold Arctic air mass firmly in place across the region. Your highs tomorrow, 30s for much of the Piedmont. How about 20 for a high in Boone tomorrow? And still going to be a very chilly setup on Wednesday, although the air mass does begin to modify. Now, I need to mention Wednesday morning, it's even going to be colder with a lot of teens across the Piedmont. I didn't put that map in here, but I think a lot of the Piedmont locations down into the 16 to 20 degree range Wednesday morning as this Arctic air takes hold. Now, the air mass moderates a little bit later in the week. Still no overly warm air in the forecast, but I think we are back into the 50s for highs Thursday and Friday. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Everybody have a wonderful day and God bless.